Hey guys, it's Hallermouse. Do you remember me? We have a big rainy Saturday going on here. And yesterday I left work early. Worked a lot the last couple months. Just thought I had enough. And on my way home, I decided, what the hell? So I shot down to a flea market in a place called Hillsville, Virginia. And basically, Memorial Day and I think Labor Day, twice a year, they turn the whole town into a flea market. In this time of year, the one that they do in the spring, going into summer, it's about half the size than what it usually is later in the year. That's the huge one and stuff. And I decided to look around and I did some booking and I didn't buy very much there, but it was a huge find with what I did find. And then like the last 2 weeks or something, I've hit Goodwills, thrift stores, an antique shop. Didn't really book it too much, but still found a bunch of good stuff, right? So before I get to the huge comic book find, I'm using the comic book for the thumbnail of this video, so it's not going to be a big surprise. I'll give everybody a chance to jump in there, show some movies before I get to the good stuff, right? So basically, I went to, it's not a thrift store, but FYE, but they were on sale, and I overdid it. I did this in 2 weeks and stuff. I don't usually spend this much on them, but first of all, for $10 a piece, I got season 1 and 3 of the original Star Trek on DVD. These are the remastered editions. And I checked them out. I checked them out because I have a bunch of Star Trek, the originals, on VHS. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of them now. But basically, what they changed, besides cleaning up the film and stuff like that, is anything that had to do with space. The bumpers, anytime they showed a planet with the Enterprise floating around, or anytime they had ships like the Klingons looking, Klingons ships looking down on the Enterprise and stuff like that. They went in, they enhanced them. It really does make a difference. So now I just need season 2 to have a complete set. It'll be in a blue case. And these are actually pretty cool cases, I guess. I'm not going to be able to put them inside regular DVDs. Wow, we just had a major flood alert in the area, so I'll have to check that out. But I'm up on a mountain, so I'm not real worried about it. But anyway, you open the cases up, I think, if I remember how to do this. Yeah. Okay, they just slide open, and then they come out, and they're all in there. Okay, you set the case to the side. And then you open it up, and they come with these cool plastic cards, right? And they give you a list for each episode on a DVD. I've checked out 3 or 4 of them, man. It's a really good set. It's a really good set. Definitely worth $10 a piece. And I have no doubt I'll find the second season. Like I said, I have a bunch of these on VHS, and I practically remember these back and forth because I've been watching Star Trek since 1979, maybe. Used to come on Sundays. After a good Godzilla movie, you'd have some Star Trek. And then years ago, I've talked about Supernatural before. And this is season 4 and 5. The first 5 seasons are one big story, right? And I had all these on DVD, and I even had the Korean cartoon. I think that's where that came out of Supernatural, right? So it's kind of cool, right? So I'm just really pushed the first 5 episodes, but I had all of these, and I had a neighbor downstairs a couple years ago that she moved somewhere from the Midwest. Didn't have a big story going on. She worked at a fast food restaurant, and I know about the apartments downstairs. The ones downstairs are like 2 rooms. Everything's kind of big. You have an open area for living room. You have your oven and refrigerator stuck in a corner. You got a bathroom where your knees stick out of the door. You can't shut it. And then you got a bedroom, and I think you have like a little closet. So I kind of felt bad for her because she didn't have cable either. It turns out she was saving money to move to a bigger place. So I let her borrow 1 or 2 seasons of Supernatural. Then she came up and got 3, 4, and 5. Watched them, then moved, didn't give them back to me. I tried to get them back once or twice, so now it's a complete season. All right, keeping up with the movies. I got these at Goodwill for nothing. Eddie and the Cruisers, man. I love this movie. I didn't know it bombed back in the day. I had the record on soundtrack. This has the song On the Dark Side. Got to start watching Star Trek. Where should I start? Um, uh, when it comes to Star Trek, you know, I would just start with the regular series, the one from the '60s. Just pick an episode and go. There's not a real continuity with those. You got they're up in seasons and stuff, but they rarely call back to each other. One of my favorite episodes is Mirror Mirror. That's one where there's another universe, a parallel dimension, if you will, where they're evil. You get to see evil versions of Kirk and Spock and stuff like that. With Next Generation, I would just start with the first season and go on. But with the Next Generation, the best episodes are any episodes that has Riker. You'll know who the character is. He's second in command of Picard. Riker has a beard. After he got the beard, the show got better. That's where I would start. Those two. But Eddie and the Cruisers, I love this movie. This was like on, I don't know what it was, TBS, Showtime, HBO, I don't know. It was just seems like it was on all the time, and I loved it. But basically, a rock star dies in the 60s at the height of his career. 25 years later, reporters like, what if Eddie's not dead? And that's the mystery. Is he not dead or not? Because all of a sudden, when this reporter starts to do an investigation, the ex-band members start having their places ripped apart. Somebody breaks in and they're still in masters of songs and records that were never released before he died. The classic Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I love this movie. I sat here and I watched it. It was John Candy's best performance. This movie's been ripped off many times, and it really surprised me how when I watched this, it was a comedy. Now that I'm older, man, I see all the heart in it. So the 60s, the Next Generation is the continuity of the Next Generation. Sorry to hijack. No, you're cool. There's a little bit of continuity there. Sometimes they call back a little bit. But you're fine. You're fine. If you know, I think you're fine. I think it's one of those things that you just need to get in there, dabble, and play around with, and just enjoy the show. I mean, I know Star Trek's a little bit overwhelming because of all the huge fan base that's out there and all the stuff that's come with it. But when it comes down to the actual show, man, you can just play around and like. I think they're on Netflix. Weren't they on Netflix? I don't know. I don't know. I believe it or not, I don't have Netflix anymore. Anyway. But yeah, Star Trek's just something to play around with. To me, it's basically you're going to find a character you like, and then you're going to have an episode that you just freaking love, and you'll end up having like a little thing in your head. And the Next Generation, I think, is fantastic. I can watch those over and over. I've just watched Star Trek, the original series, since I was like 5 or 6 years old, and I can recite some of those. You know, was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. A John Hughes film that it's gotten better with age. This thing is fantastic. And I think this is the best role John Candy ever had. This is where John Candy got to be John Candy. Yeah, it was a great movie. All right, moving on here. Clash of the Titans. I love Clash of the Titans. Ray Harryhausen. The Medusa released the Kraken. That's near and dear to me for a reason. The Kraken, just believe me, you know. We won't get into it. It's a little personal, but yeah. But yeah, loved this as a kid. Love it now. Had some of the toys. Never got a hold of the Kraken toy, if you will. I know where one's at, but I think it's like it's either $300 or $600. Seriously, I mean, somebody's trying to sell it for that much. But this was just fantastic. Check it out. You know. And then I went ahead and grabbed this to give it a home. I already have it, but this is Return of the Jedi on VHS. This is now my second one. I have the original VHSs to Star Trek, and then I also have a set of Star Wars. Then I also have a set of DVDs where, you know, people were always yelling, put out Star Wars untouched, you know, the originals with the bad special effects and stuff. You can consider them bad. You know, they want the untouched Star Wars all the time, and there's a DVD set where you have the original movies. You know. Hey, Dr. Silver Age, what's going on? Just going over some movies before I get to the comics thrift store haul. Just trying to get this stuff put up. What else did we get here? Now, guys, we're going to go to puzzles, okay? Yes, I bought some puzzles. This was for a 4-H yard sale where the money went back to the kids at the 4-H. And these were $1 a piece. And as I walked around, I didn't really see anything I wanted. So I ended up just grabbing something to give them some money. And then it turns out it was like half off. So these were actually like 12 cents a piece. It seems like I bought a toy. I don't know. But anyway, but I've already put some of these together to complete. These are from the mid-'80s. But, you know, I got a Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner puzzle. As you can see, it was $1. But since they were having a half-off sale, you know, basically 12 cents. I put this together just to laugh, but I got a Smurf puzzle. This was actually pretty cool. I actually have some Transformers and Superman puzzles that I keep around that I've had forever. And then this one I just had to get. My Little Pony. I didn't know being a brony was still a thing, and I want to give a shout out. Funk Master Celia, I guess, is back. Back, and apparently she made a video where she went to a. It's interesting. You need to go watch it, I guess. But she put up a video where she went to like a My Little Pony convention or something. It was really interesting just to kind of look through the keyhole of little cult things out there. It was interesting. So I kind of laughed because she put the video up about 2 days after I bought this. Yeah, so My Little Pony. We're getting to the comics, don't worry. And then I bought this, okay? Apparently, I mean, I just saw this, and this was also like a quarter, which makes it like 12 cents. But you put it on like a watch, and you get to aim, and it shoots Nerf bullets at people. This may be deadly in my hands. This may be something I shouldn't have. Right, so you load it up, you aim, and you shoot. Yeah, I know, man. A man in his 40s is sitting here like, I think I need more of these. So I feel so evil when I put that thing on. There's no doubt in my mind that I'm probably one of those guys, if I was in a comic, I would start out as a good guy, and I can tell, it would not go well. Oh yeah, and then in my other movie, I got Eyes Wide Shut. Stanley Kubrick movies. Everybody knows who Stanley Kubrick is. Everybody talks about how he's a genius and stuff. I'm the guy that'll tell you that it's hit or miss with him, right? And this is the one that he filmed, and I think he died before he could put it all together and stuff. But this has aged well also. Yeah, this has aged well also. Maybe as we mature or something, and we see, watching a movie in your 20s and then watching it, years later and stuff, you kind of see it through different eyes. And I definitely enjoy this more now than when it came out. I think it's a fantastic movie. Okay. I got some blank cassettes. These were 35 cents a piece. And then I got this on cassette, Back to the Future soundtrack. Is that not cool? Is that not cool? I also got a CD case just to put this thing in, okay? Last thing before the comics. I just ripped a book. Oh, well. Last thing before the comic. I didn't know they made this, right? This guy had a bunch of these old games for $5 a piece, and I went through them, and most of them weren't complete. But they had a Happy Days game, no instructions, and it didn't look like it was complete. They had a Bionic Woman board game from 1977, not complete, so I didn't get it. And then they had this, which was a complete, and this thing was probably only played 2 or 3 times or something, because when I opened the board inside, it actually cracked like a new book. But Murder, She Wrote. Okay, I watched this with my grandmother Sundays at 9 o'clock for years. If I wasn't with her, I watched it at my house. Yeah, I've never seen this before. So when I bought this at the antique store, I set it down, made a stack of board games. I said, I'll be back in a minute. And when I came up, they'd already opened it and they were looking at it. I was like, oh, how cool. So I got this. I think it's for ages 10 to adults, so there's nothing like sitting down with a bunch of kids trying to solve a murder. But, I got rid of a bunch of my board games a couple years ago because there's nobody to play them with. But this is the one I put the word out that we will be playing. Right? I even told people at the library about it and stuff. And I think they were down for a game night or something. So, yeah, this will be played. Okay. And now the comics, the Hillsville Flea Market for you guys that have stuck in here this long, right? I'm just going to go do with the big reveal because you sat through a My Little Pony puzzle with me, right? So anyway, I found a place. I went looking around, and the first booth I hit had a lot of stuff, and usually comics were like $1 there. Meetup has board games groups. Okay, Meetup. I don't know what Meetup is, but I hope that's not a dating site. So anyway, so we turn around, and the first booth I hit was, a late. I didn't even know there was comics there because of the way the little tent was arranged. And I zoned in on one box. So I'm going through the one box, and then all of a sudden I turn around, and on this other side of the wall, they don't have them in boxes. They have them in like plastic bowls. I don't know what you would call them. Very old. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I went through there, and I asked her how much they were. She said $2 a piece. They had some Bronze Age Justice League stuff. I was like making my stack. I got a few other books in there, and then I was like, whoa, 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 whoa! You got all summer, and you've got this whole flea market to look at. So I shrunk it down, and I've told myself I'm just going to get what I really need or super keys when I see, because if you've watched my past videos, I go overboard, and I don't regret it, but you know, I got to pace myself. The summer's just starting. So I found this for $2, and the thing was sitting on the table in a stack of 5 comics. This was the stack where these comics were in the best shape. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I sat there and I made up this stack, and I got this for $2. This is Shazam number 28, the first Bronze Age appearance of Black Adam. And I'm not sure about the Golden Age, but I think he only had one appearance in. Yeah, $2. This he only. I think Black Adam only had one appearance in the Golden Age. So this comes out in the '70s because of the TV show. Yeah, yeah, Doctor Silver Age. This was a good one. I had my poker face on. I had to maintain, you know. But so sit there and I loved Black Adam since 1980. I know exactly when I saw Black Adam for the first time. It was in a Filmation cartoon. There was a TV show on Saturday mornings that was live action with cartoons, and you had these teenagers host the show with kids supposedly as a live audience. I don't know. And they would show two cartoons of them at Hero High with the same characters that were hosting the show in the same costumes. And then you had Shazam cartoons. Now I have a VHS tape of all the Filmation Shazam cartoons from that, and Black Adam was in it. And I was there, and Black Adam was my favorite character for years, until probably like Starman, and he went down. And then all of a sudden, yeah, yeah. And then, yeah, that tune was awesome. I think it's on DVD. I think it came out like in the past 5 years or something. I'm sure there's clips on YouTube. So anyway, so then all of a sudden it was like I was reading JSA. You know, I love those old school characters and stuff. And they had Starman in the JSA for the first 6, 7 issues. And then all of a sudden Jeff Johns took over the book and he brings in Black Adam, and that's where Black Adam really took off. Yeah, yeah, that Shazam cartoon it's cool, man. It's Filmation. It's an old school cool Filmation thing. ISIS, uh, not going to do it. Not going to do it. We're going to stay focused. I got stuff up here from that era on top of my shelf there. I got some clamshell VHSs. All right, I found this. This was a buck. I love handbooks. I love handbooks of Marvel universes. I love Who's Who's. I love anything that you kind of open up and you get a biography, you get the history, you get the first, you know, talks, you get the first appearance, you get the little synopsis of their history and characters, you get their powers and stuff. I think it's good reading. I think if you're a comic book collector, you know, pick up some go more into detail than others and stuff, right? But then they came out this like Masters edition, and you open this up, and DC came out with a Who's Who like this also. But you open these up, and I'm not sure how they do the theme with this, but it was a racket to get you to, you know, to get them all if you were a completist. But usually they're like all the characters from A to Z. They're just alphabetical, right? Well, these give you a limited number of characters, and there's no rhyme or reason what's going on. But you open these up, and you can pull them out. And if you had a notebook, which I have one over there, like a 3-ring binder, you could arrange it for yourself, right? And I think the ones inside are colored and stuff, right? So whenever I see these, I pick them up cheap and stuff, because these were probably like $4 back in the day, and I thought it was kind of a rip. But this one has Airwalker in it. Airwalker is one of my favorite characters. He was a Herald of Galactus. He popped up in Fantastic Four 120, I think, 120 to 123. And he's been a real person. He's been a robot. He was brought back with Ron Mars back in Silver Surfer when Ron Mars brought that storyline with all the Heralds of Galactus coming together. Yeah, that's what I was going to say there, Dr. Silver H. He's right on it, man. But the thing with Airwalker is his name was Gabriel, and Stan Lee made it to where this is one of the things I give Stan Lee credit for. You know, nobody's ever disputed it, but he was Gabriel with his horn to bring Judgment Day. When he did the storyline of Galactus coming back to Earth, and you didn't know Gabriel was the Herald, he went biblical. He sat there and said, "When I do this horn, it's going to call down Judgment Day and stuff." He went all biblical with it. So basically, this is Gabriel the angel is what they were going for in it. Fantastic. Check out that arc. I think it's Fantastic Four 120 to 123, 121 to 124. It was in a Marvel Treasury sized edition. It's where they collected it and where I read it as a kid. Oh yeah, it was awesome. And another thing, after I bought these, I mean, I got real lucky finding that Shazam, but one of my buddies had a tent down there, and he beat me by 50 yards. 50 yards, right? So as I was walking through the flea market and stuff, I looked over and there's this table and it had like 10 comics on it. And the lady there was just wanting to push the comics. She's like, I'll give them to y'all for 15 bucks. She approached me with it, and somebody looked like somebody wiped their ass off with them, right? And then she said I got rid of the big books just now, like right before I showed up. And I went, big books, like big books? And she was like, yeah. And I went, those are treasure editions. It's like, who has them? She leans back out of the tent and she points over there, and I can jump out there and I see this guy walking. I see the long black hair and he's got the stack. I know this dude. So I walk around and I find him, and he bought something like, I don't know what it was, 12, 13 Marvel Treasury editions with some DC Treasury editions in there for 25 bucks. And he got the Incredible Hulk I needed in that Fantastic Four one. And I looked at him, I shook his hand, I was like, oh, it's all good. I said, I'm happy for you and a little jealous because you got me by 50 feet. And he looks at me and he goes, you're the dude that will find Hulk 181 first appearance of Wolverine for a quarter. And I went, yeah, I'm that guy. He's watched my videos. I've actually interviewed him on this channel before. It was funny. It was funny. I've never felt that petty before. All right, and then the other things I got were just for fun. I finally have a Gru #1. I have the first appearance of Gru. I probably have a stack of like 30, 40 of these comics from Epic, but this is from 1985, Sergio Aragonis. I think Steve Steve Sakai, the Usagi Yojimbo, I think he's letterer on this. And stuff. But I got a Gru #1 from Epic Comics 1985. I'm going to be picking up Gru cheap. I mean, I paid $2 for a Gru book, and they had like 2 through 12 there, but I'm not paying 12, $2 a piece for Gru. Gru is great. Gru is awesome, but there's no real keys or anything like that, to justify it. But anyway, I got a Gru #1, which I think is cool. I'm down with that. I'm a Sergio fan. And then I got this. I think I'm down to like needing 5 books for completing anything that's a Crisis on the Infinite Earths crossover, and a lot of them are not official Crisis books, but collectors add it to the storyline. If they have red skies during the Crisis on Infinite Earths, it's a Crisis crossover. So I think I need 1 Detective, 2 Batman, and a few Wonder Woman, and I think I have them all, right? So very cool. And then I got this for $2, and this was very cool. And this is the one I just kind of think I don't think I ripped it, but I think I made the little rip a little bit bigger right there. Crap. But anyway, I got Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I did score a Marvel Treasure Edition. I wish I had flea markets like that in New York City. Pro 186, I've gotten messages and comments from people over the years and stuff, and it seems like people from New York City who are in New York State, let's do it that way, because, the people from New York State, it seems like they drive to, like, Pennsylvania to some flea markets. And then Comic Hoarder, our buddy Comic Hoarder, check out his channel. I think I've heard him talk about, he's around Maryland, and it seems like he goes to stuff in Pennsylvania. So I don't know the situation up there, but yeah. But it's flea market season's good around here, but it's hit or miss. It's a little bit of drive, and everything's about an hour away, which isn't bad. And it's kind of hard to keep up with when they had these. Sometimes they're getting better. They're starting to add Facebook pages and stuff finally, and things like that. But yeah, you got to hit them hard. Time for a road trip. Yeah, check it out online. I mean, I'm just telling you what I've been told over the years, over messages. It's accumulated. I've been doing this for like I think 8 years. But anyway, here's Close Encounters, my Marvel Treasure Edition. I get to add it. And it's adapted by, I thought this was really cool, Archie Goodwin, Walt Simonson, Klaus Janson, colored by Marie Severin. Some great people on this stuff, right? And I tell you what, Walt Simonson, excuse me, somebody commented and I missed it there. Walt Simonson nailed this, man. Fantastic. I think it was the licensed properties of the 70s and early 80s that saved Marvel. I think Jim Shooter said that. So it was stuff like this that pretty much kept Marvel in business, from what I've been hearing and reading over the years with new interviews coming out and stuff. So yeah, that's fantastic. That's it. I know I'm forgetting something. I've gotten a few other little things and stuff, but I'll probably be doing another video because I have bought a game system. I bought a game system, and it has 22 old school game systems from Atari all the way up until Super Nintendo, Sega Master, Sega Genesis, Game Boy, Atari Lynx, all this stuff. But it's 22 game systems with over 8,000 games. So I may be doing a video on that because I started dabbling with it last night. It's amazing. I went down the rabbit hole. I was up till about 2 or 3 in the morning. I was eating dinner like at 2:30. I'm like, what have I done? And then I'm like, okay, I got a life. I got errands to run, and I need to eat. I need to cook. I got to clean house. But I may be talking about video games here. I don't know if you guys are up for that. Oh, where am I located? I'm in the southwestern part of Virginia, not West Virginia, Virginia. All right, man. Thanks for everybody that's hung out here a little bit. I don't know if I'll shoot another video today. The internet is working. I got some decent light. I just got a lot of stuff to do around the house. And there's things I forgot. I got a deck of trading cards, movie trading cards of Batman, the Tim Burton film. I got a few things like that. Here we go. And I'm getting the messages and stuff. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. Have a good day. Maybe pop back on here and leave in the comments. Like, sub, subscribe, all that good stuff. Yeah, you have a good one. And you have a good one, Probe. You have a good one, Dr. Silver Age. Everybody's out there. Have a good day, man. Later.